students, so we have our first science mini project of the week, and this week we are doing states of matter. So normally we do these live through Zoom, but because not every student is always able to join us, I decided it would be nice to also record a video. So today over Zoom, we will have already watched a video on the states of matter and solids, liquids, and gases, and also talking about them and discussing them. If you haven't watched the Zoom video live today, then don't start your science mini project yet. If you have missed the Zoom meeting for today, Monday, there is a link down below in the comment box that has a good video explaining the states of matter. So please watch that video that's linked below before you start this mini project. So this is what you start off with, and as usual, we cut these out and make sure that we cut only on the solid lines and we fold on the dotted lines. And what we want it to look like is this. So I've already pre-made it. And by now, as I said, you've already watched the video and or had a discussion during Zoom. So I have started by showing you how these little strips of paper and words are arranged on your new piece of paper. So here we have our title, your solid, liquid, and gas. Of course, you always glue over the dotted line to fold. So we're not gluing these completely down. As you can see, we have some words under here. And then we have our thermometer, which you will write water on top, and I will tell you why. And then we have gas, liquid, and solid, which I will explain. And then here on the bottom, you will glue or tape down the how do you move from the tab, and then make sure that you are applying glue to the gray portion of your little paper. So you will have a gray portion on the back of this where you will apply glue and then fold these back over. And we will talk about what these mean after. So first I want you, after you are done gluing the first three solid, liquid, and gas, we're going to continue talking about what they mean. So today over our discussion or the video that you watch from the link below, you will have already learned the meanings of solids, liquids, and gas. And most of us are familiar with them. However, there is an official meaning, and this is what we're going to write under each one. So, the proper meaning of a solid is a state of matter that maintains a fixed volume and shape. So that means that the atoms are very, very close together and they hold their shape without a container, and we learned that today. Then we have for liquid, we're very familiar, but it's a state in which matter adapts to the shape of its container. So as we learned, anytime that you place a liquid in a certain container, it will take the shape of the container. And then gas, as we learned, like in the balloon example, it is a state in which matter occupies the volume and shape of any container, which is kind of like a liquid, but it expands. So that means you can put gas anywhere and it will take up the shape of the entire space or container. So then we also learned the freezing point of water. So this little thermometer is actually just going to show when water freezes. So you will write water on the top, and we have right here, you will notice that I have filled in a little bit above the middle between 20 and 40. And that is because water freezes at 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So even if you want to, you can put a little 32 degrees Fahrenheit. This is Fahrenheit and this is Celsius. So I filled in when water freezes because after that, or above that, I should say, water is no longer a solid. But below 32 degrees, it is ice, which is a solid. And gas would be all the way above the liquid, so even higher than this thermometer. So all of this would be water in its liquid state. Then on the very bottom, it wants you to tell how do you move from one state of matter to the other. So in this case, it wants you to explain how can you move from a solid to a liquid, from a liquid to a solid, from a liquid to a gas. So if you think about water, if you had solid water, which would be ice, and you wanted to turn it into liquid, what would you do? And today we learned that easily you could add heat either by adding a fire or a stove, any way to add heat. So we add heat, which would make it melt. Add heat, melting. That's how you would turn a solid to a liquid. Then from a liquid to a solid, how would you turn liquid water into a solid? Well, you would remove heat, freezing. And then from liquid to a gas. So just like we learned today, if you put liquid over a stove and it turns into steam, that means we are also adding heat and causing it to evaporating. And that's where we see our steam come from, which would be our gas form of water. So that would be the end of your little mini project. And we will continue learning more about the states of matter, physical and chemical changes this week, and how states of matter work together and move from one phase to another.